Hello, everybody. Can I be heard? Is that a yes, Mystic Moon, that you can hear me? It is definitely a circus. And man, from what I've heard, well, from what I've read, the court today was a circus. I don't know if the judge drinks, but I'll bet after today he does, even if he didn't before. So what I want to do with this is I want to read what I took off the notes. And I had two note takers, and let me tell you what, they did an awesome job with letting me know what was going on. Now, I might have misunderstood something or missed something, so when I get done reading all of what happened in court, we can talk about it, okay? So, we're going to go ahead and start. So, the first defendant, and I'm not going to name any of the defendants because I'm just not going to do that. So, the first defendant showed up and, excuse me, there was some whispering between John Paul and Regina Ward, and they came to a settlement and the case was dismissed. So the other three defendants, protesters that had their case heard today, they had Paul Corey from Columbia, Charleston, one of those, as their attorney. And he requested that those three be grouped together for judicial economy. So all of their cases would be heard at once. He also requested that the witnesses be sequestered, and John Paul said he didn't know what that meant. So the judge, I guess, had to tell him what it meant. And after that, after he learned what that big court word meant, he objected. And the judge asked him why, and John Paul said, sorry. He said, I don't know why. Give me a minute. I'm sure I'll have a reason. And then the judge agreed to have the witnesses sequestered. Regina Ward argued that the subpoena that John Paul had mailed to James Seidel wasn't valid because it didn't have a judge's signature on it. And James said he didn't want to testify anyway, but then decided he would because, I guess. John Paul, I guess, started just talking to the judge and said that children were being attacked and harassed, and told the judge, when you hear and see everything, it will blow your mind. It will blow your mind. Then Philip, I said Paul Corey. Sorry, it's Philip. I don't know why I put Paul up there. It's Philip, the defendant's attorney. He was arguing about the specific dates that were listed on the motions for the restraining orders. And the dates listed were December 22nd, the 29th, and January 5th. And John Paul said that he could only choose 3 dates. And the judge told him that he didn't know where he got that from because they don't give legal advice. And you guys, I'm going to laugh through this whole thing, but John Paul told him that AI told him that he could only choose 3 dates. So, I need to stop here, and I just want to tell everyone that I have been completely wrong for giving John Paul credit for being smarter than people realize, because I don't think he is. So then, I don't know, the defendant's attorney asked for a laptop, I guess a court laptop, or to use a laptop, I'm not sure. John Paul objected and said, wait a minute, you wouldn't allow it in the past, and the judge overruled it and said it was because the defense was using it for evidence. John Paul had a flash drive that had a bunch of folders with names on it, and he started playing a video, and the judge stopped it and asked John Paul what all the folders were, and John Paul said that, I guess the particular one was when the protesters were calling him a murderer, and the judge wouldn't allow him to continue with movie time. So then he called James Seidel, who is with, I can't remember. He's the newcomer with the crime and cask. He's the newcomer that's just showed up on the scene for this case. So he's the first witness. John Paul could not formulate any kind of question without it being objected to. And he finally got one out that just asked him, did you see the protesters do stuff to us? And James said no. And then JP dismissed him. So then his next witness was church member Christina Best, or Christy Best, I think she went by today. And she has also filed lawsuits against some of the protesters. And I think the three that had cases today are the three that I'm pretty positive that they're the three that she also filed lawsuits against. So, John Paul asked her if police had shown up with dogs to the church, and she replied that there was a bomb threat. And there was no bomb, and there was absolutely no proof of who called it in. So it was ridiculous that he even tried that. I was told that Christy was a very loud witness and had to be told several times to stop talking over the judge. She said that she feels like the protesters incite violence and hatred. She also accused them of harassment and stalking. And there were several more questions that were objected to, and her testimony didn't really go anywhere after that. The next witness was a resident of Market Common and a neighbor to Solid Rock. And she testified that she had signatures from 44 residents that wanted the protest to stop. John Paul asked, can you tell me what these people do when they protest? And the real attorney objected for no foundation, and she testified that the protesters yell, "Justice for Micah and blood is on your hands." She could not identify if the three defendants specifically... She could not identify that the three defendants were at the protest or not. And I don't know why this was allowed, because the dates that were given on the motions, they weren't at Market Common. They were at the Rat Hole for the first 2 Sundays and then the gym for the 3rd Sunday. So what she had to say about today it didn't matter. Then the next witness, and I'm probably going to say her last name right, but it was Mary Jo Greenanger, and it's Trisha Ross's mother. John Paul asked her if she was at the Rat Hole and X Gym. She said that the stalkers and protesters always follow them, and that they say, "Justice for Micah, blood on your hands," and something about a cult. And she wanted to make sure everyone knew that. She said, "Let me tell you, we are not a cult." She said that she also wears mace because she's so scared, and she hopes and prays the protesters leave them alone. So Philip Corey regularly objected for no foundation, and he kept specifying that he needed dates and times as to when she witnessed what she was talking about. And I don't think any witness could give him that. Alyssa was the next witness. She used to be a teacher at the school. John Paul asked her what the protesters screamed, and she said that they yell, "This is an exorcism, not a baptism," that they block their view with their signs, and that they walk out in the road when we are trying to turn, blocking our way, and then they laugh. And John Paul asked her if they videotaped her children. She answered that they did, and then she said that the protesters say there are children in the car, we should call DSS. Then John Paul finally told the truth once in his life and said, "I'm never going to be an attorney." I think maybe he got tired of the objections he was getting. So on cross-exam, Alyssa was asked if she could remember each person, the date, and what they said. And her answer was that one of the defendants is very combative and is the leader of the pack. And she said another defendant was loud and cusses. So she couldn't answer that question either. And then on redirect, John Paul mentioned that she worked at the school and asked How do you think the children feel when they are hollering? And then there was an objection, and her testimony ended. Which I don't know why the school matters. They're not there on Sunday, are they? They don't have school on Sunday morning. So then the next witness, and I feel horrible for this girl, 16-year-old daughter, and she started crying on the stand. Now, I don't even know why they had her testify to begin with. I don't have what JP asked her to begin with, but Philip Corey asked her if she specifically remembered seeing each of the defendants at the Rat Hole and X Gym on the dates listed, and she said no. And then, John Paul doesn't care about a 16-year-old girl crying on the stand, so he chose to redirect, and he asked her, how many times have you seen the protesters? 100 times? And she answered yes. So I want to stop again and add to what I said earlier about John Paul not being very smart, because he obviously does not know how many Sundays there are in a year. Like, maybe if he counted, like, oh, well, I see him when I go in the church, and then when I come out of the church, maybe it would be 100 times, but it hasn't even been a year yet. And then my favorite idiot, Reginald Wayne Miller, was put on the stand. And Reggie said that the protesters came running at him. John Paul asked which one, and Reggie pointed to one. So not protesters, just one, I guess. John Paul asked him what the protesters yelled, because I think that was one of the very few questions he could ask without getting an objection for it. Reggie answered that someone yelled murderer, but usually they're yelling justice for Micah and you can't hide from the FBI. And he also said, I have a brother and sister from Pakistan, and he meant that they're, I guess, living with him. They're frightened because this sort of stuff happens in Pakistan. And then Philip objected. And on cross-exam, Philip asked if Reggie would do anything for his son, and Reggie answered with a nauseating, anything honorable and honest. Ugh. Reggie then claimed that the one protester who came running at him almost caused a car accident, and he was terrified. So Reggie was in a car. A pedestrian terrified him. Philip asked Reggie if he could remember what each defendant did or said, and he couldn't. Then there was a brief break. That actually might have been when the judge started drinking. There was, let's see, the next witness was church member Pam Raynock, and Pam said she disagreed with what the protesters say because the blood of Micah is not on her hands. She also testified that she had called the chief of police on the protesters a long time ago because he used to be a friend of hers. She said she called him because she tried to talk to the protesters. Sorry. Oh, and they hollered at her with a bullhorn in her face. Oh, Pam. Then, of course, John Paul asked his usual question of what the protesters yelled, and she decided, I guess, to change her voice and mock the Justice for Micah chant. The next witness, oh, are we excited? It was our little plain baked potato, Susie Skinner. John Paul asked how long she had known him, and she said since 2019. Then John Paul asked if Susie was his girlfriend, and she said yes. From what I understand, she didn't even look a little bit embarrassed about it either. She also testified that she had driven to church with John Paul hiding in her car. This man, oh, he's such a weenie. When asked what the protesters yelled, Susie said they yelled, "You can't hide, we're going to follow you." And they yelled, "Paramore, go home to your kids," which, hello, Susie, you should. Then Susie screamed, screamed, "Ooh, ooh." It's Susie Skinner. And she was so loud that people in the courtroom actually gasped because she was so yelling. And then she said that, "I feel like I'm in lunch in 5th grade and someone is stealing my lunch money." I don't even know what she means. Oh, John Paul decided then it was a good idea to add some levity to the proceedings and asked Susie if she had ever heard the protesters say that he was good looking. Ugh. Then she must have felt like she was in 8th grade drama class because she got dramatic and didn't know if the protesters had a gun or a knife. And she said they yelled, "We'll find you. We'll find you. Wherever you go, we'll find you." After Susie's testimony, Tricia decided to speak up from the galley. And I don't know, did I say gallery? And it was something about a thumb drive and a woman who she had taken the thumb drive and left the courtroom. I don't know. Tricia wanted to let the judge know that the woman said she could call her. And then the judge told her in courtroom words to shut up. Dylan is the son of Kristen Fazio, who was the principal at the school. He was next, and he testified that he knows for a fact that Robbie Harvey tried to run his tags. Technically, Robbie asked someone to, and that someone was more than likely Melissa Mancari. And he testified that one of the protesters yelled, "Get the fluff out of here," repeatedly to him. The protester didn't really say fluff. On cross-exam, Dylan said he helped John Paul prepare his paperwork. I mean, that seems like a solid choice. A kid who knows nothing about the law. Dylan also testified that he couldn't specifically remember seeing the defendants at the rat hole, but did remember seeing them at X Gym. Then, I don't know if John Paul was testifying, if he was on the stand here, or if he was just talking again, but he talked about, of course, what the protesters yell. He complained that it took months and months and months to find out who the protesters were. He said that the protesters call themselves a mob. Well, that's because his dad called him that. He also decided it was a good idea to tell the court that all the men in the church are carrying guns and the women have mace. He also claimed that Philip Corey, the defendant's attorney, offered him $1 million to drop the lawsuits. Wouldn't he have just given him the max for each one instead of $1 million? $7,500. And John Paul wanted arrest warrants for 3 of the protesters. And from what I heard, he had drawn up his own warrants or something like that. He refused to answer. This is when he is on the stand. He refused to answer Philip's questions if Philip referred to them as protesters. JP said he calls them stalkers, harassers, and bullies. And he just had to pull another zinger from Reggie's hat and said, "Screaming like demons. You won't believe the demonic stuff that comes out of their mouths." And then he said that he thought protesting was great, peaceful protesting, and yes, it's legal, but you can't go into a movie and holler fire. Isn't that what they teach you in law school? Then the judge reminded him that he doesn't get to ask the questions when he's on the stand. And that question didn't make sense anyway. And it's not legal to yell fire in a theater, and that's why you can't do it. So, Philip then asked for the restraining orders to be denied, and the judge came back or I don't even know if he left, but he said that the police who had been at the protest had told him that nothing illegal was happening. And he said that the court leaned heavily in the favor of the First Amendment and the restraining orders were denied. So I have, just a couple things. One, why didn't Trisha Rita testify? She's there every Sunday, and she has spoken to the protesters, so why not put her on the stand? Maybe he didn't want her to be cross-examined. And Waterboy was there, but he didn't testify either. And I think that's definitely because they didn't want him to be cross-examined. Because then, he'd be able to be asked about, well, aren't you waiting on a trial for assault? So that is the notes. That is what happened it was, I laughed through the whole thing. Like when I'm reading these notes that I got, it was, oh my goodness. So, let me see if I can find any. Well, I just scrolled up and saw that Steph said that she's not drunk. So that means, oh, there she is. Oh, thank you, Steph. And she says, I've never laughed so hard in my life between Susie's lunch money and JP's crushed dreams of being a lawyer. It's ridiculous. And it is just like, and I don't know what Susie meant. Really don't. Like what? I don't know what she's talking about with her lunch money. Like, I don't think the protesters are stealing lunch money. So, oh, poor Susie. So let's see. Oh, Donnet says it's projection. Stalkers, harassers, bullies, and demons. He is self-identifying. Well, yeah. Oh, Pastor Randall. I don't know that. So, sorry, Chastity asked why wasn't the other Pastor Randall put on the stand? I'm not sure that he's back in the country. So I know for sure he was in Kenya in January, and I think positively in the first part of February. I know the others have come back. Kristen Fazio from the church, she went. And then another person that I don't know if she's from Randall's church, but I know she has preached there before. So, she's back home. But I don't know if, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if old Charles was just hanging out there. I don't know if JP, I'm sure he sniffed and touched his nose. I don't know about 350 times, but I don't think he'd get through anything to. I did ask somebody if he had finally taken off his sunglasses, and he did. So, anyone know who said see you next Sunday? I do, but I'm not going to tell on her. So what happened with that was did I have that in my notes? Oh, you know what? I skipped that. So when everybody was leaving the courtroom, one of the protesters told someone from the church, and I don't know who this woman was, that she said, see you next Sunday. And the lady from the church was not happy about it. And she started yelling, stay away from me, stay away from me. And Trisha was there and she herded her out and she had her hand up like she was using the force to hold back the protesters. So Trish, the woman was yelling at a protester that didn't say that. So that happened. And I think maybe somebody was yelling about that. I think the church lady was going to file something. I don't know. It is like, so I've heard from the first hearing that it was pretty embarrassing for John Paul. And now after this one is like horribly, well, you'd think it would be horribly embarrassing. You'd think he'd just say, you know what, I'm going to give up on these. But I don't think he's going to. And it's like he wants restraining orders so they can't protest, but other people can just go and protest. It's not like he's going to stop everybody. And that's what he thinks he's going to be able to do. And he did tell the judge today that if I lose, I'm just going to keep filing lawsuits, which I would guess at some time the court is going to say no more. Like you're wasting court time. But Wild About Dreams, I think it's too late for Susie to get away. I really do think they've been together for years, and I think she's in it to, sure, she might be in it to win it, but I don't think she's going to win anything. Let's see. Crystal said those sunglasses made him look cool and important. Not. They really did not. He needs better sunglasses, those. And man, does he not have a steamer? Like, I get not wanting to iron, but I mean, take it to the cleaners. Yeah, Tina says, but they put Trisha's mom on the stand. Yeah, Trisha couldn't testify, but her 80-something-year-old mother could. And I don't even know if she's ever even been around. Like, I've seen her on videos where she just shuffles to her car and leaves. But oh, my text when I'm scrolling through it keeps jumping, so I'm losing my place. So I'm probably way out of order on any of these. So does anybody know when the next hearing is for any of the, I want to say that, I think maybe I saw that Millie had, was it next week? I don't know, because if you go to the court records on the Horry County site, it just has everybody on the 20th. Like, everybody says they were scheduled for the 20th. By the way, he said he was going to have 100 witnesses. He did not. John Paul said that. JMW says, oh, he's at home tonight with those broken glasses reading up on how to win a case. He's probably at home on that same program he used for the AI, cussing it out because they told him 3 dates. Oh. Chastity, I would take it as a threat if he told me he was going to keep filing if he lost. I mean, that's like, I'm just going to keep bothering you if you don't let me win. Oh, hang on. What about Dream says Millie and Robbie's second week of March? Well, then I don't know what I'm talking about, which is pretty normal. Why are comments disappearing? I don't know. Hang on a sec, guys. I'm getting messages from one of my sources. Okay, she's going to talk to me later. Wait a minute. I missed Susie's shoes. That's probably a good thing, because Intelligence is Lethal says, can we talk about Susie's shoes? Those are the Jesus. Oh, dang it. Those are the Jesus 3000 steppers. I did notice Trisha's boots. That's why her nickname was, other than Trisha Rita, which stuck, was Trisha. Look at my boots, Ross. She does like her boots. Yeah, I know, Christy, I know the restraining orders, right? But what are all the other things that are on there? Are those lawsuits for, I guess that's for the slander? I don't know. It's ridiculous. Look at Tiffany. She's a Nancy Drew girl. Some have, okay, Daddy's Girl says some have, oh, you came as Daddy's Girl. Some have March 5th as a date. Just Robin said Susie looked like a baked tater. It's too bad her and JP aren't going to have kids, because you know what they'd be? They'd be tater tots. Sorry. I just love my dumb jokes. Oh, I'm easily amused. I really crack myself up all the time. Yes. You know, oh, sorry, Tiff. I'm back. I don't know that they ever took that. Well, I don't know if they did or not. I was trying to talk people into going over to Patreon because they don't take as much. They don't take a big. They only take like 10 to 12% instead of the 30% that YouTube takes. But it hasn't been successful getting people over there. So, let's see. Oh, see, it just jumped again. I wonder if that's why it looks like, I think it was Jalen. I wonder if that's why it looks like yours are disappearing. Because mine keeps jumping and then it's, how will Trisha Rita survive the summer without her boots? She got summer boots. JMW. I don't even know how you remember that because I forgot about it till you said it. Susie needs to pack her bags and go back to churning butter. Oh my goodness. Okay, the civil suits don't have dates yet. But are the civil, they're going through small claims too, right? Yeah, because he doesn't have an attorney. Now, what I've heard, and this is just a rumor, but it's probably true, that no attorney would take his case for these lawsuits, and encouraged him not to file them. So, oh, wait a minute. Daddy's, read my description. I don't know if I can find your description. Oh, no. I can't find it. Sorry, Daddy's girl. It must be, I don't know where it is because I keep getting lost. No, Abby, I missed you guys too. I think I just jumped away. Oh, did you guys see the WBTW Channel 13? Man, they tried to get him. They were there before court and after court trying to get John Paul to talk. And that that little journalist, man, the reporter, she was in his face asking him the hard questions. When he came out, she said, "Are you disappointed in how today went?" And he said, "Are you from Channel 13?" And she said, "Yes, I am." He said, "I'm not talking to you." And I had forgotten all about his hatred for Channel 13. And I know some of you that are in the Facebook group saw it, but Channel 13 put a picture of him up on their website today. And if you right click and open it in a new tab, you can see what they named it. And they named it JP Mad. Just like, I just love that level of petty. Oh my. Okay. Let's see. Agatha, do you have it set for all messages? Oh, I did have it set. Hang on. Sorry. Oh. Now it's all messages. I had set it earlier and then for some reason all of my tabs that I had open crashed. So I forgot to. So now I just lost that comment, but whoever that was, thank you. Okay. Oh, it was one of my mods that asked. Oh, thank you. Um, Let's see. Oh, Rick says that you never see JP's brother. No. He stays very well hidden. I mean, I don't know that we see Lacey as much now. Back when she was still, I guess, living with John Paul, we'd at least see her vehicle. But Patrick he's not out in public with John Paul, and he is pretty well scrubbed from the internet. So, I mean, I don't blame him. I wouldn't want my name out there as, does he owe any money to the court system for today? I don't know if, he's had to pay, the upfront cost. I don't know if he has to pay for the defendant's attorneys or not when it's a restraining order. If so, he really should just go ahead and drop the rest. But, who's representing him in the rape case? As far as I know, it's Russell Long. Laura asked that. Russell is the one who signed for the papers when he was served. And somebody let me know that they saw John Paul at Russell's office yesterday morning, like after the papers were filed. So, Allison asked, was his mom or siblings not in court today? I didn't see his mother, but I don't know that I'd know her if I saw her. I know pictures. Was she there? Was that who I saw that it was like, oh, she looks familiar? I've seen pictures of her when she was younger, so I don't know. And I can't imagine that Lacey was there. Gigi says, I read what JP's mom said in her divorce complaint about JP's brother, and I can't blame him for trying to stay under the radar. Yes. Trisha, that reporter did. When JP said, get away from me, she said, this is public property. And she looked young, which, most people look young to me. So, Vivian, who is pro JP? I missed something. It's not unusual for me to miss a lot of things. He did not deny. He didn't say anything to Channel 13 when they asked. He didn't deny it. Did Susie's house? Oh, I see. It just jumped again. Somebody just asked, did Susie's house sell? I looked a couple of days ago and it hadn't. So I don't know. I haven't looked. I don't know. Man, I have somebody I could ask. I don't know how strong the market is there, like how quickly things are selling. I could probably look real quick. Wait a minute. One naked hunter. Is that what? Is that what you call her? Naked hunter? That was one of the witnesses, the neighbor, and her name is. What is her name? Beth? Something like that. Oh, named Hunter. I thought maybe the protesters had nicknamed her Naked Hunter. Are JP's sheep going to follow him to jail? No. They're going to act like they don't know him after that. Oh, the woman who said, "Get away from me," Kimberly said was Pam. Nancy, I love you too. Welcome to everybody that's joining. Oh my. I've got tears. JP and Allie and his sister all live in the same neighborhood. I thought Allie had moved away. I know she did live there. Donna says that Patrick knows where the bones are buried. Oh, Holly, I giggle a lot. I Spy Crime says, I've tried to research Patrick and I can't find anything on him. I have found very, very little. And it wasn't anything exciting. Thanks for your real voice, Agatha. Like my non-AI voice. I promise this is me and I'm not using a voice changer. Dang it, every time I get... Hang on. I get there again. It was there. No. Oh, Donna said, I think it's going to be, like today is going to be what helps Jane Doe win, that he's losing everywhere and it's going to drive him over the edge. I think that and Mark Tinsley joining the team, the legal team. So, SLC Rebel, that's what I said today. He's going to go through that $2 million just in court fees. Speaking of Jane Doe, did everybody pay attention that it's Jane Doe number 1, which means there could be a Jane Doe number 2 and a number 3? I just think it's interesting that they I mean, maybe that's normal, but Kimberly said his mom was there. See, I bet that's the woman I kept looking at that was in the picture that Guru posted of the back of John Paul looking like Rumpled Russell. Like he had, like really, he looked a little rough. Oh, Lipo says that Agatha, I'm watching a little delayed because kids, but I thought you should know that I skipped the Robbie Harvey live about Mark Bunty tonight for this. And OMG, I'm so glad I did. Oh, I'm glad you did too. I mean, nothing against Robbie Harvey, but I'm glad you're here. Because really, I mean, Mark Bunty. My freckled journey said I feel terrible for Susie's kids. I do too. Like, I can't imagine what it's like for them knowing that their mother chose John Paul over them. When is John Paul's next court appearance? Who knows? Like for what? I mean, if it's for traffic, I don't know. I know he has the assault. I guess he still has the assault charge that's supposed to be. And then I think he's sitting on 2 traffic tickets, maybe 3. It's hard to keep up with him and his traffic tickets. I Spy Crime, would she be stupid enough to move in with him? Susie? I mean, she's selling her house, so I'm assuming that's why she's selling it. Holly said only 44 signatures for the protest to stop. Very telling. And I don't even know that they presented like the 44 signatures, or if she just said, this is. Did Susie let I was told, Christy, that the dog. So there was a dog in a crate in one of the pictures in Susie's listing for her house. So the dog was only in there to take the pictures, and he actually has a doggy door back behind the crate to where he can get out. So I guess it goes out to that back, maybe the back patio. So yes, the dog did. And they took, I think the realtor took that picture down because it was, not a great picture to have up. Vivian says Susie's house is still for sale. Leva wants everyone to know that also I subscribe somehow under my kid's YouTube, so I'm not a 10-year-old boy. Oh. Please. Oh, it just jumped. Please? Somebody said please. Well, I wonder if Susan was there, why they didn't have her testify. She goes to his church. But please, everyone. Janice says, please, everyone, support Channel 13. They want justice for Micah. Yes. I mean, support them just because John Paul doesn't like them. I mean, that's good enough for me right now. Oh, I heard about Susie leaving her dog in the car all through church. Like, what? And that was, I think, Chris's dog, the little one. Like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? I don't understand at all. Let's see. Oh, Brenda asked, did Allie really get engaged to the guy that videoed JP lying in the yard, which is, what was his name? Ty. I'm going to say his last name wrong, so I'm not even going to try, but his name's Ty. I don't know if she's got engaged to him, but if she did, you go, girl. Because I've creeped him, and he's cute. And, he's got to have a better personality than her last husband. There was a video that someone made about, it said, like, it was a snarky video. Congratulations to the couple, Allie and Ty. And it had their ages on it because Allie's older than Ty. And I guess that was supposed to shame her. I don't know. Which is ridiculous. Agatha, when do you think Susie will get married? I mean, they could already be, I guess. Ugh. Maybe that's why JP's always seen with a wedding band on. I mean, I don't know why they didn't just come right out from the beginning and say, oh, yeah, we're together. Because, like, I don't know why they felt like they had to wait. Somebody says that. Lisa. I fought with Tracy today. That's Tracy Citrullo. She says there is no proof for Jane Doe. Still getting 300. I think Tracy's got to be getting more than that, man. Like, she is... I don't think that woman sleeps, and she is on it for John Paul. Like, she's just, whatever he puts out there, she is for it. It's a little cuckoo. Somebody Sparkle, I'm sorry you didn't get a notification. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time when I'm doing lives. So, um, bye, Robin. I just waved to you, by the way, too, because, you can see me. Thank you for being here. I Spy Crime. I thought Patrick made the escape, but I know they hosted what did they call it? I think it was like supposed to be it was like a diaper drive, like maybe a baby shower. I think it was for Lacey at Solid Rock. So, hang on. I have to tell my WhatsApp. So it sounds like maybe they kind of, I don't know. I don't know if he's still, Pam said, I thought it was Allie's dad who was talking to JP when he was on the ground whining like Beaker. Ty is the one who I know he's the one who uploaded the video, and what he wrote was it sounded like, well, now that I think about it, maybe it wasn't. Maybe he just uploaded it. But he did say, I can tell everything I know if you want to push it or something like that. That's a paraphrase. But Mitchell says, I have a feeling JP don't have much more time left before he gets arrested. I just hope that, like, I would love him, like, make it happen now, but I also want, the FBI to get it right. So, Janice says that she thought the same thing about Jane Doe 1, meaning somebody else had commented that I saw and it jumped about that now that Jane Doe has come out that others will follow. And I think that's true. I think people will, it's once the ball starts. And I just, she is so incredibly brave for doing this. Like, I am just in awe of, she got moxie. Nancy says if Susie marries JP, she won't be able to testify against him. It only, as far as I know, that's only for what happens when they're married, not anything before. So, was something filed today on Trish from a financial company? It was, and I'm not going to shame somebody for, like, not having money. So, well, let's see. I just got a bunch of I missed something about whose husband. I'm missing somebody's husband. I mean, I'm not missing somebody's husband. I have one. I only need one. I don't know. Debbie, I agree. Debbie Jackson said he should have to pay attorney's fees for every case he's lost. He should, but I don't know. Thank you, Brenda Longenberger. I was That's Ty's last name. I was going to say Ty Longbottom. I was like, that's not right. Allie is a cougar. Yeah, my freckle journey, like the difference between Ty and Allie, I don't think is much more than between JP and Micah. But I guess because Allie's the woman and is the older one, it's supposed to be something, I don't know. I Spy Crime said that whenever he did, JP did an interview, he always made a point to make sure that wedding band was showing that, and he, all the dumb pictures he'd put up, like anybody's believing that, and his stupid Spider-Man stuff. He was not wearing his wedding band today. That's because he and Susie were just boyfriend and girlfriend today. And everybody's stealing Susie's lunch money. Millie's here. We talked about you earlier, but it was all good stuff. Really, it was just I was wrong about when your court date was. Have you noticed that, well, maybe JP just hasn't been talking to the public as much, but I haven't heard him say lithium in a while. Not that I've missed it, but Allison said, who cares about age? It's about love and respect. I'm older than my husband, so like by 10 years. But he has more gray hair. Oh, Chelsea, you really don't want to see my face. A shabby fam. Where was Trisha's praying partner, Nick Jenna? Nick Jenna. I have some scoop on Nick, and that is that I put on my Facebook group that he had an order of protection filed against him for domestic violence, which is horrible. But he's back in, I forget what town. It's maybe Merle's Inlet. He's living with his mother. And I have heard that he is still getting financed by the church, or financed by the church by Solid Rock. So I don't know. I don't think he has a job, from what I was told, and yeah. So I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I've heard the most recent about Nick. Cocoa Puff says, Agatha, will you leave this up? My Wi-Fi just crashed. I missed. Oh man. Yeah, it. I have it set. Well, I say that. I'm supposed to have it set to. Man, I hope it is. It's supposed to be set to where it will. Well, it'll record when we're done. Well, record as we're doing it. Okay. See, Chelsea Donette doesn't want to see my face. She likes the mystery, the mystique. I'm so secretive. I'm a sneaky snake. How old is Ty and how old is Allie? Allison, I don't remember. I really don't. That's how much it mattered to me. Missing Moon, I don't think you missed anything in the last 5 minutes. Where is Nick? Nick is not in jail. I just skipped. Oh, thank you, Donette. I probably am too late, but thank you for being here. Okay, so the next hearings are 3-5 and 3-10. I don't know how many note takers I can have there for that, but maybe at least one. This time I had more than one. Barry Country Girl says Mark is back from the Bahamas. Well, I hope he had a good trip. He didn't stay there very long, did he? Didn't he just leave like Friday? Man. What are we talking about? Who's the guitar player? What guitar player? I missed something about a guitar player watching an assault. What? Oh, for Jane Doe. Sorry. I thought this was a new thing. Yeah. Diana says, I cannot believe JP asked her to say they were boyfriend and girlfriend. Bless them elementary and junior high school folks. Maybe that was just his way of saying, do you want to go steady? Because he had never asked her. And she's like, yes. Did Mark Kaufman get married? Somebody told me that he was trying to get married again. So I don't know if this was like a honeymoon or I don't know. Diana, Susie has not sold her house. Mr. Moon says that John Paul said lithium enough to last every single one of us in the chat room the rest of our lives. Yes. Oh my. Millie says she and Robert, excuse me, they go to court on 3/12. I need to add this stuff to my calendars. If you guys hear background voices, it's these dudes I live with. I'm related to them by marriage. They're just noisy. They have no idea how loud they can be. Millie, I would love to see. I bet your 2-year-old lawyer could outlaw your JP. You really need to teach her how to just yell, I object. Like you could do some kind of like Pavlovian response where every time she hears JP's voice, she says, I object, no matter what he's saying. I Spy says Mark's too much of a playboy and his last girlfriend was only 21. Ooh. JP and Tater equals Spatty Fries. Oh, Millie, see? Millie said their 2-year-old yells justice for Micah, so I think she could, she could be, I object. I object. Whew. All right, guys, I think I'm going to end for tonight. But thank you all so much for being here. This has been fun. We'll have to do it again sometime. I'm waiting for my chat to catch up. Oh, yep. All right, I'm going to go. Thank you all so very much for being here. And I love you. And I will see you again soon. Good night.